I must have done 100 shifts on those watchtowers. Never saw so much third-born blood under them. Right behind you.
Is that all you got? 10!
Stirp the party in the brush! This will hurt!
Who's ready for more?
Heimergon's 10 frosty balls are you doing here? How did you even find this place? Well, I don't smell his rumstick flop sweat on the wind, so he can't be nearby. He must have sent you to do his dirty work. Go on then. Try to kill me. I know that's why you're here. I knew that old drunk would come looking around eventually. He's been trying to kill me for years. The man's obsessed. That's funny. Now tell me what he really said. A little reunion. Cute. What did Taue and Koa say to that? Well, my answer's the same either way. No. I'm sure he put on a good show for you. And shit, maybe he really is lonely. But I have no doubt he's been up in that little lighthouse of his in Thirdborn plotting our demise. So no, I won't share a drink with him, and you can tell him I said so. I don't care what Taue does, and Koa should know better than to trust him. Much as I miss our best days, Envoy. They're not my crew anymore. I surely hope so. So long, Envoy. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Helak. Hate that he was alone in those last moments.
Gods and shadows! Tear it apart!
Listening to Yatsley's thoughts about godless ruins is one thing. Bringing her along for the rest of the trip is something else. Well, don't you think it's a little convenient? You need to go somewhere no one ever goes, and here she is to show you the way? If she's read anything about the garden, it was written centuries ago. Obviously, things have changed since then. Bothered? Pedraku. It's my job to guide you as safely as possible. What you're doing isn't safe. I'll go along with whatever you decide. Just don't be disappointed when she doesn't show you what you wanted to see. Anyway. Thanks for talking. I suppose if you're on a wild goose chase, there are worse places to do it. I probably know a lot about this place that you don't. It's rough, but it's very survivable. Yatsley's got you going in all sorts of abandoned ruins. Who knows what's down there? More questions, most likely. And spiders. How come the answers are never in a little oasis with shade and drink service? I just want to make sure we've covered all the options before we dive headfirst into another deadly ruin. Right. Just keep it in mind, I guess. Anyway. If I must. This place was bad enough before the Dream Scourge. Now it's downright hazardous. I remember what it was like to be blindly optimistic. I envy you. This used to be a fertile land, with lakes, forests, all of that. Then everything suddenly changed several hundred years ago. Now it's blasted deserts and dried up seas. Anything that lives here is simply stubborn enough not to die.
That's the most apt description of Thirdborn I've ever heard.
Maybe you will, but what about poor Kai? Huh? What about him? Just keep your head and you'll be fine. Let me look out for the others. What do you need? You too.
The Dream Scourge is getting worse. First our land, then our animals. Now our people. If we don't put a stop to it, we're looking at the end of the living lands. I keep trying, and the world keeps punishing me for it. As if the Dream Scourge wasn't enough of a problem, the Adherents are profiting off our misfortune. They haven't come to help us. They're here to exploit our weakness. The steel garrote are a weapon. Who do you think wields them? It's too bad. We're fighting for our lives, our souls, and our freedom. I don't know if we can win all three. You really think so? My apologies for acting cynical, but it feels as if nature, politics, and even the very gods are working against us. I don't appreciate being backed into a corner, but here I am. Despite everything that's happened, I'm so grateful to be working with Yatsley. In many ways, Quilichi has been like a second father to me. But Yatsley, she's like my dirty aunt who's up to no good. As long as you don't feed her after midnight. She gets gassy, temperamental, and somehow it's your fault. While I have your attention, I've been thinking. Why is Inquisitor Ludwig suddenly interested in godless ruins? When it comes to her, there's never any good news. We should be ready for anything. Something tells me Ludwig isn't finished with us yet. You too. I don't leave Emerald Stair often enough. With everything going on, there's been no time to explore. Finally, I had a moment to myself, and look what happened. The Steel Garrote invaded the living lands. Sorry. I'm in a mood, if you couldn't tell. True, but I need to raise my spirits. Literally and metaphorically. I used to think I had it all figured out. But the living lands proved me wrong in so many ways. This entire island is the prison of a mad god. How is one Animancer supposed to compete with that? All we're missing is the juggling act. Maybe I'm being melodramatic, or maybe I'm not used to seeing things clearly. But what if Animancy has no future in the living lands? What if my entire career was a mistake? Did I? After what happened to my parents, I always thought the path chose me. You're a good listener as always, but I've taken enough of your time. I'll be fine, really. I'm not the first Animancer to question her life choices, and I won't be the last. Not before I've done some reading. When I joined you, I thought we'd be exploring the intersection of the physical and the spiritual, not bickering over sulfur. Yet here we are. Thanks to you, Thirdborn will have all the ammunition they need to defend themselves. In theory. Agreed. What matters is it's theirs, and will remain so. At the end of the day, bullets are of limited use against the Dream Scourge. And it'll take more than gunpowder to wrest the living lands out of your Empire's clutches. Still, maybe a little gunpowder is better than none at all. Anyway, what do I know? I'm an Animancer, not a strategist. Thanks for talking.
Thirdborn. If it weren't for the Leviathan skeleton in the middle of town, I'd hardly recognize the place. Well, that's what I'm trying to nail down. You ever come back to a place and feel like the buildings are smaller and the colors are duller? And home just wasn't the same. Thirdborn was always this rugged oasis. Dangerous and out of the way, but bursting with vitality. It was a harbor for larger-than-life types. People like Capo, the Leviathan Slayer, and Tama. Glory seekers, trophy hunters, warriors trying to leave their battles behind. People who built around their stories and their scars. All that vigor's been wrung dry. Being back, it felt like we were watching Thirdborn die a slow death. Left is a generous way to put it. I think what's eating at me is that Thirdborn seems rudderless. The Dream Scourge is one threat. Conflict with Adir is another. The Living Lands is changing, and Thirdborn feels like a barnacle on a moving ship. Temerity's leading them as best she can, but towards what? What are we doing out here besides surviving? Personal. Take it easy, Inquisitor. What about you? You were sent by your Emperor to investigate the Dream Scourge. Since then, you've died, met a secret god, and gotten swept up in tensions between your empire and our scattered settlements. You brought Egwolf to Adiran justice, but then you thwarted the Steel Garrote's attack on Fjord. Do you know what you're sailing towards, or are you drifting with the tides? That kind of clarity is rare. Thanks for talking. I hope Thirdborn is able to find its way somehow. Shake the sand out of your bedroll before you settle in.
For the camp of an official Adiran envoy, I was expecting a little more. A proper bed, at least. But I suppose this will do for now. As long as you have a bath, of course. When the mood is right, I find I like everything. I'm going to write Quilici tonight. Make sure he misses me. But, as riveting as it is to complain about our accommodations, I imagine you have another topic in mind? Well, because I'm the foremost expert on the godless, of course. So I must study their artifacts when I can. Unfortunately, it's been quite some time since I've met another who focused on the godless as I do. And I imagine I'd be more knowledgeable on the subject than anyone else you could find. I've yet to be burned in a single flame trap, and I don't intend to start anytime soon. Fair guess, though. When I got my first grimoire as a child, I was trying out some of the fancy new spells I'd been given. I was attempting a simple illusion spell, but I must have slurred my words. The next thing I know, everything was on fire. I'm sure they were sick to death of hearing me speak of the Circle of Archmagi. Oh, Lendegrath transfers their memories. Reengrim is a master illusionist. There's someone named Tane. I'm sure they thought it was harmless. Not that I'd burned down the house. What is childhood but for silly things? When else can you get away with arson? My father was able to pull me from the flames as my mother doused them. I burned myself badly enough to give myself some vivid dreams, but the house still stood at the end. Unfortunately, my delightful personality only carries me so far. But they were scholars themselves and appreciated my initiative. They just wanted to supervise me from then on. The only lasting damage was my burn mark and the dreams. Usually I enjoy a bit of pain, but this was a bit too much. I wouldn't recommend it. As delightful as you are, we've much to do and less time to do it in. Shall we go? Oh, Envoy, might I steal a moment of your time? We need to discuss what happened in Emerald Stair, don't you think? Look, I lost more research than I'd like to count, but Fjord and its people are safe. That's what matters. Thank you, Envoy. I don't know how you managed it, but whatever you did, you averted disaster. That being said, your ambassador is going to get an earful, and possibly a fistful, next time we're in Paradise. Envoy, you'll find that I'm unreasonable from time to time, so hush. At least we were able to get everyone to safety. Though with everything happening in Thirdborn, safe might be relative. At least I know Temerity will keep an eye on them. I think she knows what'll happen if she doesn't. I know, and she knows. Let's leave it at that. Long enough that I trust her to do her best by everyone. You see, Emerald Stair has Naku Tedek. For a young and aspiring godless scholar, it was a godsend, if you'll forgive the pun. And, as a young at heart godless scholar, I've traveled outside the stair to other ruins. That's how I met Temerti. Thirdborn's close to Naku Kubel, and a girl's gotta eat sometime. Who says I did? I still go out often. I've catalogued many ruins, but there are always more. And coming home to a warm welcome is lovely. You should try it sometime, darling. Oh, part of it is my sparkling personality, of course, but a larger part of it is time. It's hard to hate someone when they drop by your lab with lunch after you've forgotten to eat again. As much as I'd love to, you don't travel with the kitchen. I can't promise anything. My mother always said that the way to a man's heart was through his stomach. Quilici and I got together the old-fashioned way, though. I saw a beautiful man across a smoky tavern. Then I dazzled him with my delightful personality. Then he showed me an abandoned ruin outside of town, and I was hooked.
Are you joking? He's my mentor. Not to mention 1,000 years old.
Oh, no. They're both handsome humans, of course. But Giada is like family to both Quilici and me. He taught her a lot of what he knows. She spent days in our home. Literal 26-hour days. It's hard to believe that things have changed so much recently. Any sense of safety just went poof. It makes you wonder how everything will turn out. Right. The city can be replaced, but not its residents. Thank you, Envoy. I feel a little less frazzled. I've got a lot to think on. Talk to you soon? Try not to have too much fun without me. How can I help, darling? Don't let the bedbugs bite, dearie. Do you think those Adirans were onto something? Do you think they can really cure the Dream Scourge? You may be right. I just hope we made the right decision. You took the words right out of my mouth, Envoy. Now that the researchers can research, think of what we'll learn. A cure might sound far-fetched, but what if they find treatments for the Dream Scourge? And even other ailments? Oh, I can't wait to see how far they've come when we see them again. Well, that's all I had to say. I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Unless there's something else you want to chat about? How can I help, darling? Sweet dreams, Envoy.
What's that you're drinking?
Some tea from the Deerwood. It's got some Glanfafen name I've never been able to pronounce, but it's delightful.
Never smelled anything quite like it.
See? Delightful, isn't it? And it tastes just as good if you'd like a cup.
Another time. I'll just sit here and enjoy the scent if you don't mind.
Suit yourself. More for me.
Careful with that thing. We're not even sure what it does. And
Another fragment in. This thing's just getting warmed up. Could you possibly chew any louder?
Only if you say please.
Nimdude. We'll have every dream thrall in the scarp after us.
at least he's not as loud as the envoy, gulping down potion after potion.
It takes a real talent to gulp them all at once.
Well, just keep it down. I can't hear myself think.
Seeds of change, their petals sprout across the barren land. They sing to the unwanted ones, and the unwanted ones sprout in turn. The soil remembers what it once was. It will soon be whole, safe. A name given to the land, not asked for. You see why the parasites are loathed? The soil does not want these cities. It yearns for silence, for the kestrel song. But first, the sprouted ones will grow. They will bring the stillness and the bird song. The air was not meant for voices. The soil was not meant to carry buildings. We want all of them gone. We wish for life to flourish again. Efforts paid in blood. They lie to the earth, to themselves. Death nourishes the soil. All things come from the rot. The spider devours her mate to lay her eggs. We ponder, dream of shifting sands now. We will speak again.
with you.
Enjoy the pain! Is...
My turn.
Over here! Nothing like a win with a good team.
He didn't stand a chance. If you ignore all the dead bodies around, it's a cute little camp.
Always used to boast about her family's military history. She was better with the hammer than the sword.
At least it's a beautiful place to die.
That looks like a piece of the thing you were fiddling with at camp.
Yeah.
Unseen.
Yeah.
Someone's interested.
Yeah.
Watch your back!
over here. At least you took care of those bastards. I'm glad I got to see some vengeance served. Don't know why you're here, stranger, but I'm grateful you are. You're not even here to deal with the Zorbs themselves. I suppose I should be grateful you're here at all, right? We arrived at the cave last night, made camp, and it all went downhill from there. Just the four of us. Manu, Kiri, Naoki, and me. Training under Captain Ruiki, trying to keep Thirdborn safe.
Yes, because there was no fighting force better to save the city than 5 untrained civilians.
Someone had to do it. The guards are stretched thin, and with all of the dream thralls, there aren't many willing to go looking for trouble. Look, after what happened in Fior, we had to make sure it didn't happen here. The Zorbs were our first official mission. Like I said, someone had to do it. Private Naoki was on watch, but I guess he fell asleep because the scaly bastards ambushed us. It was a massacre. Most died then. The rest ran off in all different directions, screaming. Naoki must have gotten away in the chaos. The gods have a cruel sense of humor to save just him. Don't bother. I'm halfway around the wheel already. Just listen. Since we left Thirdborn, he's been running his mouth. We got to hear how many Zorps he's going to kill and who he thinks is afflicted. The town's been talking about nothing but Fior and the Dream Scourge. I think it got to him.
It crawls into our mind as it crawls into theirs.
It's probably why he was the first one out, because it was all suddenly real. Even if the captain had been acting weird lately, there were 1,000 better reasons for it. No, Captain Ruiki was fine. We were all fine, no matter what Private Naoki thinks. If you don't believe me, check her journal. That should be enough to please you. Here, take my badge. Take everyone's. Our families deserve to know we fought and died for them. I don't have long. Let me stay and enjoy the silence before Barath takes me.
I used to fish and drink with these people before I left. They weren't soldiers.
Sounds like they wanted to be.
I didn't realize how bad things had gotten here while I was away.
The Dream Scourge seems to have set all of Thirdborn on edge. I guess I can't blame them wanting to do something.
Take your best shot. 10!
Yeah.